Younginz, the most unorthodox show on the globe. Of course, I am one of your hosts, Myra B. King, and I have great hosts with me here as well.
And this is Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo in the building. We have another special guest with us today. Sir, let the people know who you are.
My name is Ducey Gold. I'm from North Carolina, and I make music.
That you do.
Man, welcome. We're glad to have you, man. Your music, like I said, your music is definitely a vibe.
Absolutely.
You know,
Thank you.
how long have you been involved with music? Been doing music?
Probably like 6 years now.
Okay.
I'm 22, so I've been doing it for a while.
What made you get into it?
It's just always kind of like around the house, and you know, I always had like an affection for music, and then you know, just kind of just as a young kid and trying new things, I kind of just gravitated towards making it, and you know, I got a little setup, and it kind of just turned into a better setup, and it turned into releasing a song, and you know, snowball effect.
What kind of music were you listening to when you were growing up?
It's really early. I was listening to a lot of Boyz II Men, Michael Jackson. That's what my mom was playing. A lot of church music as well, like Kirk Franklin and stuff like that. You know, because I wasn't pressing play or pause. It was just when my parents were playing. So that's kind of what was around the house, just you know, that type of music. And then my dad also used to play a lot of like reggae and like a lot of Erykah Badu, a lot of stuff like that. And then as I got older and, you know, started having my own music taste, and what I was kind of drawn to was Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa for a while, then Lil Uzi, Nav, you know, those are some big inspirations for me for sure.
That's what's up.
For sure. I can definitely hear the Uzi inspiration. I used to love Uzi, especially when he first came out, but I can definitely hear how you spend your sound on it. And I heard you say, you mentioned before that your mother gave you some good advice, which I thought was dope. When she said that, hey, when you hear Mike, you know that's Mike. You know, no one else can sound like Mike. Like, you know that's Mike. You know, like, find a way to make yourself different. So when people hear you come on the radio or wherever they're listening to your music at, they know that it's you. I thought that was very helpful. Like, how did you come up with your sound, like, without trying to completely copy your inspirations? Because that's kind of hard, because a lot of people sound like each other now, and it's hard to tell who's who, except for, like, you know, certain rappers.
Right. I think, you know, honestly, it's just a trial and error thing. I've been doing it for a while, so you know, the point that I'm at now is a year's, you know, process and work. So like originally I just kind of just heard things that I liked from various artists, and you know, I would try to implement it in my own way, and then you know, I just kind of eventually saw some things that worked and some things that didn't, as far as being comfortable with my voice. And now, you know, I still try new things now. You know, I'm always trying to reinvent myself and just be different. And so you know, there's always work to be done on that side. But I think that as far as just making like a recognizable sound, I kind of just saw what people liked and what I liked, and found like a happy medium between that, and just kind of stuck with it.
So, and I also want to give you your credit, as you got one of your songs played in what, NBA 2K, the next generation, or like that, or was it something like that?
Yeah,
I definitely want to congratulate you on there. That's definitely something that a lot of artists kind of like strive to do. And the song was dope, by the way.
How did they happen?
So there's this girl that I know named Sabrina, and she's an A&R for United Masters, and I've been releasing my past projects and my past singles with United Masters because for one, I just like what they're doing as far as, you know, trying to give power to independent artists, and, you know, switch the the game up a kind of, in a way, you know, like show artists that they don't always necessarily need the traditional trajectory, like in order to be successful in music. And so, you know, she had just been telling me to send her records when, you know, I make them, and I sent her Montclair Cold, and once I sent it to her, she said, you know, I'm gonna try to send it around and see what it does. And then, you know, months went by, and then I had already released a song, and you know, then she just hit me and she was like, 2K wants to use your song on the soundtrack. And so I said, you know, let's do it. And that was pretty much it. Yeah.
So you get revenue off that?
Yeah, like so, like each song that I have, if you register it with BMI or ASCAP, I think those are PROs.
Yeah.
Then your song is embedded with a digital code. So, like every time it's played in like a store or like something like that, that counts as digital royalties. And so, or I think they're called digital royalties, or yeah. Anyway, that's money that I'll make from like a soundtrack or something like that. And then you have the streaming side where, you know, you're getting paid from just, you know, people pressing play for 30 seconds or more on a song that you have. And, you know, that accumulates after that small percentage of a stream eventually adds up, you know, over time.
Do you still record yourself? Because I know you also express your frustration of going in the studio with engineers, them not knowing how to fully get your sound down. It'll frustrate you at times,
Yeah.
or whatnot. So do you still record yourself?
Yeah, I'm actually sitting right here. I have like my home studio like right here where I'm like set up. This is like my little workplace kind of. And what I've been doing a lot lately is just making my own demos here, because like I said before, like I pretty much I feel like a lot of engineers that I've worked with in the past, not to say they're bad or anything, they just don't necessarily fully understand what I want. So nowadays I kind of just make demos here, and then once I'm happy with the demos and I've, you know, really settled down to what I want to go to a studio and do, I'll either take my vocals with me and just get them to mix them there, but I'll have like certain parts of the vocals that I've already tweaked so they don't have to do it. Like it's already in the way that I like it. And then, you know, we'll do the rest there at the studio, or I might just need to record a few lines at the studio or something like that. That's kind of been my process lately, but I don't know if that's popular. I don't think it is, honestly, but that's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. So
what type of guy were you in high school?
Hey, this your boy Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo. And if you like what you are seeing so far, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the page. Please. And if all else fails and you like what you talking about as far as this merch-wise, baby, hit us up. You know what I'm saying? Check us out on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook at Twistedyounginz with a Z. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you give us an email at twistedyounginz@gmail.com for all promotions.
Where's it at twistedyounginz@gmail.com?
Yes, sir, with a Z. And also, if y'all don't like what you see right now as far as merch-wise, we got more merch, and we also do merch.
Do your merch,
Send us in a couple
support
designs.
everybody.
Yeah, and we do promotional packages, interviews, videos, articles, whatever you guys need, man. Just make sure you hit us up. Holla at you, baby.
I was like a cool kid, like the guy everybody knew type thing, but you know, kind of like a jokester for sure. Definitely a jokester.
Were you did you play sports?
Yeah, I played football. I played football in high school. I played football in college for 2 years. And football was that was kind of the thing that first got me like initial notoriety, I guess you could say, in my hometown and, you know,
what position?
Surrounding areas.
What position?
Oh, what position? I played wide receiver, but in high school, I played wide receiver, I played quarterback, I played running back, I played like everything. But then when I got to college, I played receiver.
What was your 40?
I think the fastest 40 I ever ran was like a 4.5, 4.4 or something like that. I wasn't like blazing fast, but I was pretty fast.
Yeah, that's fast. I mean, to the average person.
Yeah.
4.5, 4.04. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, 4.5, 4.4. That was a pretty fast time. Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, so when you said, the engineers, you felt like, it's not that they didn't get what you were doing. I want to ask you, do you feel like they didn't get what you were trying to do, or do you think they just didn't care?
Oh no, I definitely don't think they didn't care. So there's this one engineer in Charlotte at a studio called GAT3. His name is Ace. Me and him worked really well together, and so we did my record Hell and Back, and he understood. And there was, like, in hindsight, there were some things that I wish I could have done differently about the record, but that's every record I ever dropped, after the song drops and everything. And then I have another friend named Nunu. He's an engineer. He works with Coil Ray, and he's also very good. He's one of my good friends. And every time I go to LA, he lives in Orange County. Every time I go there, I always make sure I try to work with him, because he is somebody else that I trust to engineer my vocals and engineer, my style. But I don't think that these engineers necessarily didn't care. I just think that sometimes in music, there's a lot of different terms and terminology and ways to say things and ways to, get things across. And sometimes people just, they don't click, especially when you're in a studio session that's, 5 hours and you're, working against the clock, Sometimes it's kind of just like, oh, well, let's just do this because it'll save time. You know what I mean?
So growing up in North Carolina, how was that? And you all got a lot of eyes on you now, like with artists popping out of there.
Right.
Most spotlight I've seen within the past few years, to be honest with you. So how is that like growing up in North Carolina and the whole music scene out there?
So it's funny, like, I really don't, I really can't even say like I was a part of a music scene, to be honest.
Okay.
I really just think, like, growing up in North Carolina, there is so many different types of people and so many like things you can get into. And me growing up as a kid, I was kind of always the person that just knew everyone. And, I had all different types of friends, and I could go here one day and I could be with a completely different group of people the next day. And so that kind of cultured me and, gave me the opportunity to feel out, like the real world and kind of how people operate and how people act, and, how to carry myself and keep my composure in a lot of different situations. But I really think that since I always just made music and it was always kind of a thing that I did, a lot of people early growing up, especially in my hometown, they kind of just like, didn't really understand what I was trying to do. My football coaches were saying like, this is not good. My parents, even at very first, were not necessarily, they always supported it, but they wanted, me to change up my lyrics a little bit, and they didn't, like necessarily what I was talking about. And so I kind of always just like made music as like my little hobby in my room, like it wasn't like I had like this, group of people that I could go connect with in my city. It really wasn't like that. So I really just kind of, it was just me and just trying to create. That's really all it was, just trying to create. And then as I got older and once I got out of college, that's when things really started to kind of pick up, and I started to meet more people because people started taking me a little bit more seriously, and I started taking myself and my craft more seriously as well. So that's kind of when I started making a connection with any type of scene in general. And that's when I met my manager. Or I have 3 managers, but that's when I met one of them. And yeah, but growing up in North Carolina was, it was just very different. Yeah.
Like at the beginning, did some people not like your music?
Oh
Like
yeah,
it
for
was like,
sure.
this is whack. You know what I mean? And you had to,
Honestly,
right?
I feel like I had a lot of I feel like I had a lot of good supportive friends, like my close friends. So, they would let me know if this song wasn't like, I could do better. But like, I feel like most of my friends and most people that heard my music from a very early point on, they heard potential. Like, it wasn't like it was ever trash. It was just like, maybe the quality wasn't all that good, or maybe, the lyrics weren't all that in depth, but people always kind of saw potential. So that's kind of what motivated me to go further and further with music and not really ever give up, because, you know, like it's hard to give up on something when people are telling you that you shouldn't and people are telling you that you're good. Now, if I had been getting like straight hate, like people saying like this is really trash, maybe it would have gone a different way. But I think people have always seen kind of potential in me. So that kind of pushes me forward.
Hey, I know all different cities have their own like slang words. So,
Right.
give me some words like that has different meanings, compared to where you live at now. Like, where you from?
Um, it's a it's a lot, especially in my friend group. My friends are like they come up with like their own like their own lingo.
Okay.
And I say my friend group because like my friends, the friends that I have, my closest friends right now, I've been friends with them pretty much all since I was like 7 or 8. It's like real like day one shit. So I think like we say like we're about to go bull, you know what I mean? Like we're about to go hang out, we're about to bull out. We'll say um T, like, so if somebody's saying like yes, we'll say like T. You see what I'm saying? Like, so if somebody's like, you're trying to go to a score, I'll say T. You know what I mean? It's it's a lot of different things I can tell you, but yeah.
That's great. So you say you've been making music for 6 years. You have a decent group of work as far as like your sound and things that you're saying in your music. Like one would definitely have to listen to your lyrics to see what you're actually saying, because they may think, oh, okay, he's just swagging it out. But once they actually listen to your lyrics, you're actually like putting a story together, like saying things and situations that you've been through. What is a situation? Well, what is one of the lessons or a couple lessons that you take away from just like dibbling dabbling in this industry, being around your business networks and seeing how the business works? What is something that you feel like you've learned that is extremely helpful that you take with you to this day?
There's so many things, but I think the most important thing that I've learned in the music industry and kind of just meeting new people in the music industry, I think that like everyone is kind of chasing something. So I feel like in order to really be successful, you kind of have to block all that out and not really chase what like everyone's chasing, but chase what you truly want to do. And if you do that, then you don't necessarily have to worry about a lot of the things that most people worry about, because I feel like a lot of people, they care too much what the social media comments are, or who's following them, and you know all that stuff. I mean, and it's easy to get wrapped up into it, but for me, the thing that I've learned is just I need to get better at making music, and I need to get better at creating these sounds, because it brings me like happiness. And that's really what the biggest thing that I've learned. There's so many other things too, but yeah, just kind of just really just focusing on yourself, like in a way of bettering yourself. And because I look at music as a sport, like I did with football and stuff, you know. I'm just trying to get better. It's not really like I think there's too much thought put into a lot of things, and I feel like if you're making good music and you're making music that makes you happy and you have an audience, that's really all you need to worry about, and just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate the fact that you actually put thought and creativity into it, because now and I'm not just hearing, oh, shoot bang bang, shoot the ops,
Right.
and do all of that. You know, that gets old after a while. Like, you know, I
Right.
like to get down to some of it, you know, I'm not gonna lie, but it's
Right.
just oversaturated with that. And it's like, man, what is the culture coming to? Like, can anybody
Right.
have fun anymore? Like, come up with a good piece of work, you know what I mean? Or, you know, expand their vocabulary, you know?
Right.
So I definitely
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Can you walk me through I got a couple tracks for you, but one specifically. Can you walk me through your creative process of Fear of God?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I'm glad you asked about this one because this is one of my favorite songs in creation.
As well.
Like, I was in LA, and this was the first time I ever went to LA. I was 19. I I got a one-way there. I saved up just enough money to like get a one-way, and I had a friend out there that I was staying with, and you know, he told me like, yeah, you can stay here for as long as you want. You know, like I got a studio here, and I had my own studio, like, you know, set up too. So everything was Gucci. And he said like, you don't got to pay nothing, just have money for food. So, you know, I kind of just saved up like, I think like $500 or something like that. And I just went out to LA for like a whole, like, I was out there for like 2.5 months. And that was where I met like a lot of different people, and I made Fear of God. And I was just, it was my first time in LA. So it was kind of like euphoric, like, you know, like in a way. And I don't know, I think we had been listening to Lil Keed that week, like the first, because I made that song the first week I went to LA. And we had been listening to a lot of Lil Keed because his album Long Live Mexico had just dropped like around that time. So we were listening to a lot of that, and I think he had a song called Fear of God, and I was like, damn, that would be hard if I like had a song called Fear of God. And then I can't remember like what was going through my mind, but I just remember like being in LA and just being happy to be in LA for the first time, and that was the song that vibe created.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? I asked because, you know, I pride myself on not casting aspersions on no one I don't know. I looked at your track list. I'm looking at Fear of God, Hell and Back. I'm like, what kind of devilish shit is this dude on? Like, is he worshiping something? Is something up in this dude I don't know about? But when I go and listen to it, like you said, I'm listening to you talk about your experience in LA. I'm listening to you talk about, you know, your love life and everything like that, your hardships and your family. And then you do have a good time and everything like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, he's throwing me off. Well, you know, he threw me off. You ganked me. I ain't gonna lie. I fell for it. I sure was like, shit, I need to hear about what this dude talking about over here.
Right.
Listening to. But I do like the music and everything like that. So I appreciate you breaking that down and explaining it to me, and for the future viewers out here who need to see that.
Right. Sure.
Also, you have one song. I forgot the name of the track, but you mentioned like LSD in it. Have you ever experienced with that?
Yes, I have.
How? Okay, because I've always wanted to know, and for someone to give me a straight answer. How is that trip? Like, how does it affect your mind? Like, what journey does it take you down?
It can be different for a lot of people, but for my experience, it's very euphoric, and like it's not like one of those things where you do it to like escape reality, kind of. It's not like one of those things, because there's definitely drugs that people take, and it's like kind of like a coping mechanism. For me, like acid and LSD is like a way for me to learn more about myself, and it's kind of like a learning experience. That's why I talk about it in my music, because, you know, like I'm not like an advocate for or anything like that, but, you know, I feel like people should have they should have freedom to explore their own consciousness, and learn more about themselves. So, you know, I talk about it.
How does it make you learn more about yourself? Like, what is it like? What does it do for you? Like, what is it showing for you that you probably didn't already know? Like, you know,
it's really hard to explain, but I'm trying to think. It's like things like you just think deeper. Like, for some reason, I think there's things in your brain that like connect or something when you're on LSD, and I don't know, you just think deeper about things and you come to realizations. You like work things out within your brain. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's just, and then you know, obviously you see like sometimes people will see visuals and, you know, different things moving and stuff like that, you know, and that's an experience in its own right.
What did you see? What did you see?
Well, I mean, I've done it a couple of times. So, one time I didn't really have many visuals at all. Then another time I kept looking at my hand because my hand had like, you know, the marks you have on your hand, like in the inside palm of your hand. Yeah. Like there was all these movements going on in my hand, and you know, it was just weird to look at. I kept looking at my hand. People thought I was crazy because I was like staring at my hand like this. Like, but yeah, and like that sounds like super insane, but I promise it's not.
Are you religious?
Yeah, I am religious, but I'm also very curious. So like that's kind of been always like a back and forth battle with my religious endeavors.
Like religious as in like what?
Like I believe in God. Like I grew up, like I was raised as a Christian, so I believe in God, you know. I believe that. So what?
You believe in Jesus or?
Yeah, I definitely believe in Jesus. I definitely believe in Jesus. But
so the titles, like the titles of these songs, Hell and Back and Fear God, like, do you fear God or?
Yes, for sure.
Feel you
like because so in the song Fear God, like if you notice, I said Fear God on my body because that's really the like I was really talking about the brand Fear God because I was wearing Fear God when I made the song, and then I said I'll never sell my soul because like even that early when I was in LA making that song, I already saw like how weird people were acting in LA, and everybody was like trying to be somebody and faking shit. So that's why I kind of was like, I never sell my soul. So, you know what I'm saying? The song called Fear God, but it's really like, it's really about the brand. But then since I named it Fear God, I was like, I might as well talk about, you know, never selling my soul. It kind of just went together.
Yeah. I mean, listen, do you think that's what's going on out there? You feel like they're selling their souls out there?
I mean, you gotta, people be saying selling souls, and it's like, I don't know if that's literal or if that's figurative, because if it's figurative, I think it's definitely true. Because motherfuckers signing deals and, you know, just to get out of a situation that they at currently, just to put themselves in a different situation that they're not going to like in the future. And I feel like that's definitely a form of selling your soul figuratively.
Absolutely.
But as far as literally, I mean, that's some conspiracy shit that I don't care, honestly. Like, you know, I'm not gonna think that deep into it, but figuratively for sure, you know, and not just in the music industry. I think people sell their soul for anything. People want a quick out instead of like working hard to get something that, you know, they really earn. And I feel like it's anytime you just try to like do something quick here to, you know, get a quick come up, that's kind of like selling your soul.
Have you read the Bible before?
Oh yeah, I read the Bible like 3 times back, like cover to cover.
What makes you curious about religion? What are you curious about?
Just like I'm big on science and stuff too. Like I'm big, like I love science. And so like, you know, obviously like religion requires a lot of faith, and then science requires a lot of proof and testing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those two things kind of butt heads, but at the same time,
like where they butt heads at?
Well, I mean, so I'm saying religion is like faith-based. So like it's basically believing in something that you have no proof of. That's what faith is. And then science is the complete opposite. It's basically science, you're taught not to believe anything until you can test it. And it's been peer reviewed and been tested by a lot of different people to be proven true.
Right. What
and even then,
like you saying, right, faith-based, but you know what it's actually saying in the Bible, what didn't happen? Like what are you saying? Like what's the
I mean, like, so for example, like I'm trying to, like Noah's Ark. for example. Like, as a kid, like I was like, okay, yeah. But then as I grew up, I'm like, is that really possible for every animal in the whole world to be on one boat? You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like I question it. I'm not gonna say I don't believe it or I believe it. You know what I mean? Because it's, but stuff like that, like in the Bible, where it's just like hard to believe. And I guess that's the whole point of being, religious. You're supposed to just kind of just believe it without really asking any questions. But, as I said, like being a curious kid and always wanting to kind of know more, that was hard for me.
No, I mean,
that was like thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
So back then, it probably wasn't that many animals or that many people.
No, and I understand what he's saying. In science, a lot of stuff is proven. And you, like you said in the Bible, it's a lot of faith stuff that you just have to believe. With faith. That
because you can't see it. I mean, it's not a movie. It's no like film back then. So Yeah.
My thing, I do want to say, curiosity did kill the cat. Some of the greatest scientific principles are theories. They're not facts. A theory is not a fact. So even in Scientology and science itself, there's still a lot of things out there that are not proven that they still go by and think that it's law and it's still a theory.
And we can put whatever in there because there's no way you can get to it. I can tell you stuff moving at the speed of light is cells on the rolling around on the floor. You can't see it. Do you got a microscope?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a hadron collider? Yeah. You can't see the particle.
Not you in general. I just want people out there to understand that the theory. I mean the falsehoods.
And Darwin made a theory with the evolution and stuff. That was
whatever you don't believe in religion and stuff like that, and you're curious about. Me personally, I'm with you. Everyone should be curious about everything, but don't just. I'm not just you, but there's a lot of people that turn to science like, oh, it's so fictional. I can believe in this. There's the Scientology and stuff like that. When, like I said, a lot of that stuff is theories too, and you're putting faith in it as well. Yeah, you just put a different name on it. It's not religious, and you don't have to pray to anyone in Scientology.
Well, at least he brought up the fact too that he read the Bible 3 times, and he does believe in God and Jesus. Facts. Now, granted, some things he may have some questions about, which I think that's natural, but. But he does believe that in Jesus Christ and the Lord.
Well, I mean,
I appreciate you. I'm talking about.
Okay, look, you believe, but are you following the commandments, the 10 commandments?
I mean, I'm definitely not. I'm not.
That just
I'm probably slipping up a little bit, but I'm not doing the bad ones. I don't think I'm not killing nobody. I'm not.
All sin is equal, brother.
What?
I said all sin is equal, brother.
Okay, that's good. So I'm slipping up a little bit.
We gotta repent, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm definitely not perfect, but I repent.
Hey, Ed, before we get out of here, is there anything that any new fans, any of your fans or our audience can like look forward to that you may have coming up?
Any future projects,
events, videos,
or
I got a lot going on coming up in the future. I got a show in June 23rd.
Okay. Where?
At the Poorhouse in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And then I got an acoustic version to my song Hell and Back coming out very soon, like in the next couple weeks.
All right.
And then also I just got other records and I'm about to roll out and videos and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot in store for everyone. Definitely be on the lookout for new stuff.
Well, definitely keep us in the loop, man. We're gonna definitely support your movement, your music. You definitely have a bright future ahead of you, and definitely keep your faith with you, and don't get caught up in the sauce, man.
You're
gonna go, and you're definitely gonna go far for sure. I don't want you to be out here being one of these wannabes. I could have had it all, got lost in the mix, but no, you definitely have a strong head on your shoulders and continue to lead.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
All right, be safe, man.
No, thank you, and you have a good one. We appreciate you.